Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about the female reproductive system. The female reproductive system is more complex than the male reproductive system because in addition to gamete formation, it has to nurture the developing fetus. So the main function of the male reproductive system is to produce the gametes, but in addition the female reproductive system has to nourish the developing fetus. The female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries along with a pair of oviducts or otherwise called as fallopian tube, uterus, cervix, vagina and the external genitalia located in the pelvic region. So the ovaries are the primary female sex organ. So the primary female sex organs are the ovaries. The accessory organs are the fallopian tube or otherwise called as oviducts, uterus and vagina. So these are the accessory organs. The accessory glands of the female reproductive system are the Bartholin's gland and the Skene's gland. So all this constitute the female reproductive system. So all these parts along with the mammary gland are integrated structurally and functionally to support the process of ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, childbirth and childcare. Now we'll see the structure of ovaries. Ovaries are the primary female sex organ that produce the female gamete ovum. So the primary female sex organs are a pair of ovary. So the main function of the ovary is to produce the female gamete ovum and also the female sex hormone. The ovaries are located one on each side of the lower abdomen. So the ovaries are located in the lower abdomen or the pelvic region. The ovary is an elliptical structure. It is about 2 to 4 centimeters long. Each ovary is covered by thin cuboidal epithelium called as the germinal epithelium, which encloses the ovarian stroma. So each ovary is covered by a thin cuboidal epithelium called as the germinal epithelium, which encloses the ovarian stroma. So the inner mass of the ovary is called as the ovarian stroma. The stroma is differentiated into outer cortex and inner medulla. So the outer region of the ovary is called as the outer cortex and the inner region is called as the inner medulla. Below the germinal epithelium, a dense connective tissue called as tunica albuginea protects or covers the ovary. So tunica albuginea covers the ovary and it is for protection. The cortex appears dense and granular due to the presence of ovarian follicles in various stages of development. So the cortex region of the ovary appears dense and granular because of the presence of ovarian follicles in various stages of development. So in this picture you can able to see the cortex region, you can able to see the primary follicles, tertiary follicles, secondary follicles, all this. Then the medulla is a loose connective tissue with abundant blood vessels, lymphatic vessels and nerve fibers. So the inner region of the ovary is called as the medulla. It is a loose connective tissue with abundant blood vessels, lymphatic vessels and nerve fibers. The ovary remains suspended in the pelvic region because of the ovarian ligament. So the ovary remains attached to the pelvic wall and the uterus. So it remains suspended in one place, that is the pelvic region, because of the ovarian ligament called as mesovarium. So one side the ovary is attached with the body wall or the pelvic wall. On the other side it is attached with the uterus with the help of the ovarian ligament called as mesovarium. So in this picture you can able to see a pair of ovaries located in the pelvic region. The ovaries are almond shaped and it is about 2 to 4 centimeter long. So we have seen about the ovary. Next we will see about the accessory organs. The accessory organs of the female reproductive system are the fallopian tubes, uterus and vagina. First we will see about the fallopian tube. Each fallopian tube extends from the periphery of each ovary to the uterus. So you can able to see a pair of fallopian tube or otherwise called as oviduct. It starts or it extends from the periphery of each ovary to the uterus. So the front part of the fallopian tube bears a funnel shaped infundibulum. If you take the fallopian tube, it is divided into 3 parts. The front part is the funnel shaped part called as the infundibulum, and the middle wider part is called as the ampulla, and the last narrow part is called as isthmus. So the front part of the fallopian tube bears a funnel shaped infundibulum. The edges of the infundibulum have many finger like projections called as fimbriae, which helps in the collection of ovum after ovulation. So the ovary releases ovum and the ovum is collected by the fimbriae part of the infundibulum. So the infundibulum part has a suction which helps to collect the ovum from the ovary. So through this finger-like projections called fimbriae, the ovum is collected by the fallopian tube. The infundibulum leads to the wider central portion called as ampulla, and the last part of the fallopian tube is the isthmus, which is short and thick wall connecting the ampulla and the infundibulum to the uterus. So the isthmus part only connects the ampulla and infundibulum part with the uterus. So the fallopian tube is divided into 3 parts. That is, the funnel shaped part is called as infundibulum, and the middle part is called as ampulla, and the narrow part is called as isthmus. The infundibulum has many finger-like projections called fimbriae, which helps in the collection of ovum from the ovary. Next we will see about the uterus, which is otherwise called womb. The uterus or womb is a hollow, thick wall, muscular, highly vascular. Highly vascular means it is richly supplied with blood vessels, an inverted pear-shaped structure lying in the pelvic cavity between the urinary bladder and rectum. So the uterus or otherwise called womb is a hollow, thick wall, muscular, highly vascular and inverted pear-shaped structure. So the uterus is inverted pear-shaped structure which lies in the pelvic cavity between the urinary bladder and rectum. The major portion of the uterus is the body. So the major portion of the uterus is called as the body part, and the rounded region superior to it. So the top region of the ovary is called as the fundus. That is, the rounder region of the ovary is called as the fundus. The uterus opens into the vagina through a narrow cervix. So you can able to see the cervical region. So the opening of the uterus is called as the cervix. It is a narrow region. So in this picture you can able to see the uterus which opens into the cervix, and the cervix opens into the vagina. So the uterus opens into the vagina through the cervix. The cavity of the cervix is called as the cervical canal. So the cavity of the cervix is called as the cervical canal, which communicates with the vagina through the external orifice and with the uterus through the internal orifice. So the cavity, that is the cervical canal, which connects with the vagina, is called as the external orifice, and the cervical canal which connects with the uterus is called as the internal orifice. The cervical canal along with the vagina forms the birth canal. So the cervical canal as well as the vagina together, they are called as the birth canal, because the baby get expelled through this canal, that is the birth canal. The wall of the uterus has 3 layers of tissues, that is the uterus is covered by 3 layers of tissues. The outermost thin membranous serous layer called as the perimetrium. So the outer layer is called as perimetrium, and the middle muscular layer is called as the myometrium, and the inner glandular layer is called as the endometrium. So the uterus is covered by 3 layers: the outer layer perimetrium, the middle layer myometrium, and the inner layer endometrium. The endometrium undergoes cyclic changes during the menstrual cycle, while the myometrium exhibits strong contraction during parturition. So the endometrium, that is the inner layer of the uterus, it undergoes changes during the menstrual cycle, and the middle layer myometrium, it exhibits strong contractions during parturition, that is during childbirth, it exhibits strong contractions. Next we'll see about the vagina. The vagina is a large fibromuscular tube that extends from the cervix to the exterior. So the cervix opens into the vagina. It is a large fibromuscular tube. So it is the female organ of copulation. So the vagina is a copulatory organ in female. The female reproductive structures that lie external to the vagina are called as the external genitalia or vulva, comprising of the labia majora, labia minora, hymen and clitoris. So the female reproductive structures which lie external to the vagina are called as the external genitalia or otherwise vulva, which comprises of the labia majora, labia minora, hymen and clitoris. Next we will see the accessory glands of the female reproductive system. The accessory glands of the female reproductive system are the Bartholin's gland and the Skene's gland. So the Bartholin glands are otherwise called as the greater vestibular gland. They are located posterior to the left and right of the opening of the vagina. So the main function of the Bartholin gland is to secrete the mucus which helps in the lubrication of the vagina, and it is homologous to the bulbourethral glands of the male. In male we have seen that the bulbourethral gland or Cowper's gland is located at the base of the penis, which helps in the lubrication of the penis. Same way the Bartholin glands are also helps in the secreting mucus and helps in the lubrication of the vagina. So both are homologous, that is both does the same function. So next is the Skene's gland. They are located on the anterior wall of the vagina and around the lower end of the urethra. So they secrete a lubricating fluid and are homologous to the prostate gland of the males. We have learnt about the prostate gland of the males. Same way the Skene's gland are located on the anterior wall of the vagina and around the lower end of the urethra. They secrete the lubricating fluid. So these are about the accessory glands of the female reproductive system. The external opening of the vagina. So the external opening of the vagina is partially closed by a thin ring of tissue. So the opening of the vagina is partially enclosed by a thin ring of tissue called as hymen. The hymen is considered as an indicator of women's virginity because the hymen is often torn during the first coitus, that is the physical union. But in some women it remains intact, and sometimes the hymen layer can be stretched or torn due to a sudden fall or jolt, and during some heavy physical activities such as cycling, horseback riding. So therefore it cannot be considered as an indicator of women's virginity. Okay students, till this we conclude our topic. In the next class we will be discussing about the mammary glands. Go through this topic and learn. Thank you.